About your breath. By now, you know what the power of breathing can do for you, how it can miraculously heal you physically and mentally. Proper deep breathing through your nose, proper deep breathing through your nose. But I want to tell you a little bit about the subtle energies within your body that are affected by your breath. So one of my pranayama books is called The Power of Breath. This is not a very new book. It's been out a few years. It's written by a Swami Saradananda. Anyhow, the subtle energy forces that our breath control, there are 5 of them. Now, pranayama means it's the 3rd limb of the 8 limb of yoga, or excuse me, the 4th limb of the 8 limbs of yoga, and that means pretty much controlled breathing. Prana is a Sanskrit term that has many translations, but really just one meaning. The transliterations of prana can mean life force, means energy, it means breath, but yet all 3 of those things really mean the same thing, because life is energy and breath is life. So prana is all of that. So there's 5 forms of prana that control the subtle energies and the functions of our body. And I'm going to talk about today the 5th one. It's called Udana Prana. Udana Prana is your expressive breath. It cultivates your self-awareness, your self-esteem, strengthens your ability to know who you are and articulate who you are, and it strengthens your ability to be aware of who you are and who you want to be. So in order to do Udana Prana, we need to shut off the external world and tune within our own bodies. Pratyahara, which is the 5th limb of the 8 limbs of yoga, is the withdrawal of the senses. That's what Pratyahara means, withdrawing the senses. And one way you do that is a breathing exercise called Shanmukhi. Shanmukhi means 6 face. Shan is 6, Mukhi means face. There are 6 gateways to the external world on our face: the 2 eyes, the 2 ears, the nose, and the mouth. And in doing this pranayama, we're going to close off the 6 gateways to the external world. Now, there's an elaborate hand gesture that can be used to do this, but I'm going to keep it simple today. So start with a nice, tall, seated spine so that your airways are nice and clear, and then close off part of the external world by closing your eyes. And then take one finger on each ear, doesn't matter which one it is, and close off the flaps of your ears so you're closing off that part of the external world. And then keep your mouth closed. We're going to keep our nose open because we're going to breathe through our nose. And take your deep, slow yogic breaths all the way down to your belly, and listen to what your breath sounds like with the external world closed off. You might hear an ocean, you might hear a chant in your head, but take slow, slow, deep, even breaths doing this Udana Prana called Shanmukhi. Okay, release your hands away from your ears. Bring your breathing back to normal. And I shall greet you with my opening Om Balu Satguru Bhagavan Ki, the divine is the inner teacher. And I just want to remind David to record if you haven't already done so, David. Okay, David, can you wave to me? All right, good. Okay. I'm going to cover, a lot of us have been gardening lately, so we're going to do some poses to help our gardening backs and our gardening shoulders. There was a new moon on Monday, so we're going to do a moon salutation today, and we're also going to do a sun salutation so I can show you the difference between the two. So starting off by warming up our spine, cross-legged seated position, bring your hands to your chest in Namaste. Inhale, point your fingertips up as you reach up toward the ceiling, pushing your palms together, big inhale. Exhale, bring your arms in a T. Inhale. Exhale, twist to the right, left hand on the right thigh, right hand behind. Every time you exhale, get a little deeper in the twist. Big, slow breaths through your nose. This is really good for our aching gardening backs. Inhale back to center. Exhale, bring your palms back together. Inhale back up, pushing into your palms. Exhale, separate your hands and then bring your right hand beside your hip, left arm beside the ear to open up the left rib cage. Inhale, pull up. Exhale, down. Palms back to center. Inhale, push up your fingertips. Exhale, open in a T. Inhale. Exhale, twist left. Right hand goes on the left thigh, left hand behind. Your spine is vertical, spiraling upward. Every time you exhale, get a little deeper in the twist. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, move back to center. Palms back into the chest one more time. Inhale, push up with your fingertips. Exhale, this time the left hand's going to come by the left hip, right arm beside the ear, opening the right rib cage. Inhale, pull up. Exhale, down. If you're seated on a bolster or blanket, please hop off of it and come onto your mat with your feet in front of you, knees bent. And then take your hands behind you. Your fingers can be any direction that's comfortable for your shoulders here. Mine are sort of angled outward here. And then bring your feet a little bit more than hip width distance apart. And then we're going to swing our knees to the right. So our left hip is going to lift off the mat and our left knee is going to go toward our right heel. And then back to center. And then the knees will go to the other side. So now this time our right knee is near our left heel. And then back to center. All right. Once again, bring your knees to the right, but this time you're going to come off of your left hand and then bring your left hand over to the right side of your body next to your right hand, which is going to be above your right thigh. So now you're resting on your right hip and you walk your hands to the right. So you continue twisting your body. Your body's going to go behind you now in this deer pose, and then slowly sink down maybe onto your forearms, or maybe sink down with your head on your hands or your head on the mat. Sleeping deer pose. We'll take a couple of breaths here. This is a nice gentle twist for warming up. It's also a good twist for cooling down. Okay, slowly push back up into your hands. Walk your hands back over, around, come back to center. And now we'll let our knees fall to the left. So now the right hand's going to come on the left side of the body, and you're going to walk your hands, continue to walk your hands to the left, and allow your chest to melt down in this direction. Please slowly push up. Walk the hands back, bring the knees back, and then come lying on your backs with your knees bent about hip width distance apart, and bring your arms to a T, palms facing up. So this is another gardening pose to open up the shoulders. We use our shoulders a lot when we garden. So pick your bottom up, move it about 1 inch to the left. Let your knees fall to the right, and let them stay there as much as possible while we do this shoulder opening. So now you're going to take your left hand, bring it over your face toward the ceiling, and then roll onto your right shoulder. Bring your left hand to meet your right palm. So you're palm to palm on your right shoulder. Now you're going to swing your left hand with your fingertips are touching the mat or the floor. Swing your left hand up over above your head as you open your chest upward. When the hand is above your head, flip your palm up. Continue dragging your fingertips down as you open your shoulder blades down, and you're going to end up in a T where we started. So your shoulders are now flat, hands are in a T, up, palms facing up in a T position. Inhale, and we'll repeat. Exhale, bring the left hand over top. Meet your right hand, and then slowly inhale, drag your left fingertips above your head. Flip the palm up. Keep dragging the hand over to the left, end up in a T where you started. So all the while, your knees are still bent, folded to the right. One more time, inhale. Exhale, lean, reach over. Come onto your right shoulder. Inhale as you sweep your left arm up over your head. Palm flips up when you're at 12 o'clock. Keep dragging your fingers along the floor till you come back into a T with your shoulders open, shoulder blades flat on the mat. And then bring your knees to center. Push into your feet, bring your bottom back to center. And then push into your feet, scoot your bottom 1 inch to the right. And now your knees will fall to the left as you roll onto your left hip, your right hip's coming up, your shoulders are flat, arms in a T, palms facing up. Inhale. Exhale, bring your right hand over your face, up toward the ceiling. Come on to your left shoulder as your right hand meets your left hand. And then inhale as you drag your right fingers along the floor, up to above your head as you unfold your torso. Flip your palm up when you get over your head, and then slowly drag your fingers over back to a T position, keeping your knees still or folded to the left. Inhale. Exhale, swing your right arm back over your body to meet your left arm. Inhale, drag your right fingertips up over your head. Flip the palm up when you get to 12 o'clock, continuing to open that shoulder, returning to your T position. And once more, inhale. Exhale, bring the hand over your body, meet the left palm. Inhale as you drag your fingertips over your head, flip the palm up, continue dragging your fingertips back to a T position, and then bring your knees back to center. Scoot your bottom back to center. Good. And now we're going to do a little bit of abdominal work. So extend your legs long on the mat. Lace your fingers and place them underneath of your head. So you're using your fingers as a little bit of a prop for your head. Now it's important that don't pull on your neck. When you see where we're going with this, just make sure you don't pull on your neck. You're just using your hands to rest your head so you don't pull on your neck. All right, so from here, bend your knees, bring them into your chest as much as you can. And then take a deep breath. Exhale, tuck your chin, lift your head and your shoulders off the mat. Push your lower back into the mat. Extend your legs long, about eye level. This is a low boat, and you're just using your fingers to rest your head so you don't strain your neck. Inhale here. Exhale, bend your knees and very slowly bring your head and shoulders back down to the mat. And you can now put your spine in neutral for a breath or two to take a break. So now you have a little bit of space in your lower back. When we come up again, you're going to get rid of that space. You're going to push your back into the mat so you're engaging your abdominal muscles. Inhale. Exhale as you bring your head and shoulders off the mat and extend your legs so that they hover about a foot above the mat. Push your back into the mat. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Don't pull on your neck. Make sure your head's relaxed. Take another deep breath in. And then as you exhale, bring your knees in and slowly roll your head and shoulders back down. Release your spine so you can put your neutral lumbar curve in your back right now for a breath. And we'll do one more. Inhale. Exhale, push your back into the mat. Lift your head and your shoulders as you extend your legs. Keep pushing that back into the mat. If you find your back popping off the mat, you need to bring your legs back up a little bit so it doesn't do that. Take a deep breath and then bring your knees back in and bring your head and shoulders back down. Now take your hands and hug both knees into the chest and roll on your spine. And then please roll over onto one side so that we can come onto our hands and knees in table position. And please pad your knees accordingly here. Starting with our squared up table, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. We're going to grease our hinges, what I call this. Inhale with a flat back. Exhale, bring your bottom towards your heels. This is lubricating all of our joints, our wrists, our shoulders, our knees, and our hips. Go really slowly. And then as slowly pop back up to table as you inhale. I'm the only one that I know that calls this greasing the joints. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, slowly bring your hips back, feeling the lubrication in your wrists and your shoulders and your hips and your knees. And then slowly pop back up. And one more big inhale. Exhale, one more lubrication of the hinges, bringing your bottom towards your heels. And then very slowly push up to table with a flat back. Deep breath in. As you exhale, push into your cat back, tucking the tailbone, tucking the chin, crown of your head down. Push the mat away so you can feel your shoulder blades separate and your vertebra open on your back. And then inhale very slowly through your nose as your belly drops down toward the mat in your banana back, extending your spine long, forehead forward, tailbone back. And then one more very slow exhale back into your cat pose. Marjariasana. And one more inhale slowly, dropping your belly down to the cow pose, Bithalasana. And then come back to neutral table. And then please come onto your forearms, onto your belly. So have your elbows please underneath your shoulders, your forearms are shoulder width apart, hands flat open on the mat. Push your pelvis into the mat, push your thighs into the mat, and if you can, push the tops of your feet into the mat. See, if you're able to push the tops of your feet into the mat, maybe your knees will come up a little bit off the mat. That's good. So pretend you're squeezing an imaginary ball between your thighs to roll your thighs inward slightly, feel it opening in your lower back, and pull the mat towards you with your arms. You're not going to move your arms, but drag your arms on the sticky mat so that you feel your chest coming forward and your shoulders coming down from your ears. This is a Sphinx pose. It's a mild back bend, but it's a wonderful back stretch. So think about your head coming out of a turtle shell. So your neck is long, the crown of your head is going forward and up. Your tailbone is going down and back, and do not clench your buttocks. You don't want to be clenching your butt here. You're using the outside muscles of your buttocks, not the middle. And you're rolling your thighs inwards slightly. Keep pushing your feet in the mat and your thighs and your pelvis into the mat. Take a deep breath. Tuck your toes, exhale, push into your forearms, come into the forearm plank. A little bit more abdominal work here. Breathe. Breathe 2. Breathe 3. And bring your pelvis back down, back into Sphinx. And one more time, take a deep breath. Exhale, tuck your toes, push up into your forearm plank. Couple of breaths here. Engage your abdominals. And then the pelvis comes back down. Untuck your toes if you've got them tucked. All right, so now we're going to come on to take your right arm and pivot it 90 degrees so that it's parallel to the front edge of your mat. And now we're going to roll onto our right hip. And then so your feet are now stacked one in front of each other. We're going to come into a forearm side plank. So from here, you're going to lift your hips off the mat, bring your left arm pointing to the ceiling, and breathe. Breathe, and breathe again. And then bring your hips down, bring your arm down, roll back onto your pelvis. And now rotate your left arm, pivot it so it's parallel to the front of your mat. You're gonna roll now onto your left hip. Your feet are stacked one right in front of each other. And now you're gonna push into your forearm and into their feet to lift your hips and your right arm toward the ceiling. Breathe, breathe, and breathe again. Hips come down, hand comes down, push up to table. Take a deep breath, tuck your toes, exhale as you push up into downward facing dog. So this is your first dog of the day, presumably. It's your first dog of the day. Bend your knees, lengthen your spine. Don't worry about getting your heels down yet. Maybe pedal your knees so that you can loosen up the hamstrings. Make sure your fingers are spread wide. Make sure you're squeezing your forearms toward each other to feel your deltoids roll outward. And your head is melting between your arms. Your chest is melting down toward your thighs. And now bend your knees a lot so that you can walk up to your hands. And then very slowly rise up. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, arms in a T. And then come into Anjali Mudra. And then Tadasana. If you have blocks, please get them, because I think you'll want to use them. If you don't have blocks, you'll make do without them. And you can put them in front of you any level you want for now, just within reach. So this is another pose that we're going to do for our back stretcher. Take your right leg, cross it over your left so that the pinky edges of your feet are almost touching each other. Okay, and then return your body to Tadasana with crossed legs. Shoulders down from your ears, bring your belly in and relax your neck. From here, we're gonna fold from our hip crease, come forward, and then bring your hands down to your blocks or the mat and feel this wonderful stretch in the hamstrings, but also your lower back. If you keep your lower back keep your don't let your lower back hump upwards. Try to stretch your spine long. So this is a back stretch as well as a hamstring stretch. And then very slowly rise up and then uncross. And then we'll do the other side. So it just gets to this crossing of the legs gets to different parts of your hamstrings. Okay, reestablish your nice long spine. Fold from the hips, not from the waist. Chest nice and flat coming forward. Hands come on down. Your belly is coming toward your thighs here. Your legs are slightly bent, just a little bit. And then very slowly come back up, uncross, and return to Tadasana. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend your knees. Come into chair. Inhale here. Exhale, you're going to swing your arms behind you, fingers pointing up to the ceiling. So your belly's on your thighs with bent knees here. And then inhale as you swing your arms back in front of you into chair. And then slowly come up again. Inhale, exhale, chair. Inhale, exhale, swing your arms behind again. Inhale as you bring your arms forward. And then slowly rise up. And one more time, inhale, exhale into chair. Inhale, exhale, swing the arms behind you. This is a big shoulder opener. Inhale as you bring your arms back in front into chair. And then really slowly rise all the way back up, Urdhva Hastasana. Inhale, point your fingertips up. Exhale, arms in a T, Anjali Mudra. And then come to Tadasana. So we're going to first do a sun salutation. I want to show you guys too, if you can't, maybe you can see, I have my celestial leggings on today to celebrate the sun and the moon. So sun salutation is meant to be a warm-up pose. It's a very heating pose because we go sort of quickly. And it's done as part of an asana practice where you link together a bunch of movements. The sun is your masculine part of your being. It's heated, it's fiery, it's hot, bright. That's the masculine energy in your body. So we'll start with our sun salutation and then we'll move to the moon salutation to see how it contrasts. So starting in Tadasana, inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend your knees, forward fold. Bring your fingertips down to your blocks or to the mat. Inhale, come halfway up, extend your spine long, straighten your legs. And then exhale, bend your knees, come all the way down again. Inhale here. Exhale, step your right foot back to a high lunge. Inhale. Exhale, left foot back to plank. Okay, so you guys remember chaturanga. You can either bring your knees down to do your chaturanga, or you can keep your knees up and just bring your chest forward into your chaturanga. You remember this? And then you're going to push up to upward facing dog with your chest pushed forward between your arms, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Inhale, kick your right leg up behind you. Exhale, bring it up between your hands. Inhale, exhale, step your left foot up to meet your right foot. Inhale, slowly rise up. Reach up, Urdhva Hastasana, inhale. Exhale, arms in a T. Anjali Mudra. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend your knees, forward fold all the way down. Inhale, halfway up as you straighten your legs, straighten your spine. And then exhale, come all the way back down. Inhale, exhale, left foot steps back to high lunge. Inhale, exhale, right foot back to plank. Inhale. You can either put your knees down or not. Shift forward to chaturanga. So remember, chaturanga is not a push-up. And then push up to upward facing dog. Tuck toes, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up behind. Exhale, swing the left foot forward. Inhale. Exhale, right foot steps up. Slowly rise up. Inhale, up. Exhale, arms in a T. Back to Anjali Mudra. And then back to Tadasana. So that is one version of a Surya Namaskar sun salutation. And there are several things that you can throw in there to increase the length of it. And you can also go faster than what we did here. But as you know, as you can hopefully feel a little bit of heat coming from that. So now we'll do the cooling moon salutation. So the moon represents the female energies in our body. The moon is dark, cool, slower. It's the yin and the yang. The yin is the moon, the yang is the masculine side, female masculine side. So for the moon salutation, if you want to turn your mat sideways, please do so. I think you can see me better if you do that. And I'll just wait a moment. And then also, please have your blocks. And with your mat long ways, take one block on one side of the mat and one block on the other side of the mat at the back edges on each side of your mat. So there are several versions of Chandra Namaskar. Chandra means moon. This adaptation I did just so that we can stay one side of our mat. Otherwise, if this were a live class and I could move around you so that you can see me, but since it's not, this is the best we can do. So starting in Tadasana, get your spine erect, your head over your shoulders, belly in. Bring your hands to Namaskar, Anjali Mudra in your chest. So this represents the new moon. This was on Monday, the new moon. Inhale as you push your fingertips up to the ceiling. And then slowly exhale as we come into our waxing crescent. So today's moon is a waxing crescent. Tonight's moon is a waxing crescent. Inhale back to center. Exhale, bring your arms to a T. Bring your hands to your hips as you step your feet apart about 3 feet or so, just so that you can still have balance here. And then come from your hips, fold over, bring your hands down to your mat with a nice long spine. So this represents our quarter moon. The pie shape between your legs is the quarter moon. This is also really good back stretcher. You can also feel your hamstrings here, but if you keep your spine long, you're going to feel a nice stretch to your back as well. So think about tilting your pelvis forward so that your lower back doesn't collapse, like you're sticking your tailbone back and up. And then just let your spine dangle here for a minute or a few moments. And then while we're here, we'll plant the right hand underneath of our face and twist open to the left. And then left hand comes down, and then lift your right hand, twist open to the right. And then that hand comes down, and then bend your knees and slowly come up. 5-pointed star. Tailbone down, arms parallel to the ground, shoulders down from your ears. Pick up your right toes, pivot them 90 degrees. Bend the front knee, pick up your left heel, scoot it back about 1 inch. So now you're in your warrior 2 pose. And then we're going to come into now the half moon. And this pose is called Ardha Chandrasana, which literally means half moon. So we're going to reach forward, bring our hand to the block. Bring your left arm up for balance, and then scoot the block out as you scoot your left leg up and lift it so that it's parallel or higher to the mat. Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Okay, very slowly, with grace and precision, bring the foot down, push the block back, and then very easily come back to your warrior two. Okay. Now we'll move into our 3/4 moon. So straighten the front leg, shift your hips to the left and come into your triangle pose. So your arms are in a straight line. So this is your waxing gibbous, 3/4 of a moon, waxing gibbous. You see your 3 triangles here. Pull up with your left fingertips, come back to your 5-pointed star, pivoting both feet forward. And now we will move to the full moon. So walk your heels in, maybe walk your feet in a little bit, bring your arms into goalpost arms, and then sit down into your goddess squat. This represents the full moon. Couple of breaths here. Now for a little bit of extra work to your calf muscles, just come onto your tiptoes here. Breathe. And then bring your heels back down. Straighten your legs, back to 5-pointed star. Pivot your feet back forward. So now we're starting the waning phases of the moon. Take your left toes, pivot them 90 degrees. Pick up your right heel, scooch it back a little bit, and we're going to do our waning gibbous. So your hips are going to shift to the right as you come into the triangle pose. Waning gibbous, 3/4 of a moon, 3 triangles. Pull back up with your right fingertips to come back. This time, put your palms facing down, bend the front knee into your warrior two pose. And now we'll go into the half moon on this side. Reach forward with your left arm, bring it to the block, and then scooch the block forward at an angle so that you can have balance to lift your leg up into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Okay, very slowly with grace and precision, bring the foot back down, come back to your warrior two, pivot your feet forward back to 5-pointed star, bring your hands to your hips, and then come from your hip crease with a flat back all the way down, hands onto your mat. So now we're back to our waning quarter moon. Plant your left hand in front of your face, twist open to the right. Bring the right hand down and then twist open to the left. And then the left hand comes down, bend your knees, slowly rise up. Bring your hands to your hips, walk your feet in together. Bring your hands to your chest. Inhale, push your fingertips up. Exhale, crescent left. This is your waning crescent moon. Inhale, back up. Exhale, arms in a T. Anjali Mudra. We're back now to our new moon. And then release. So I hope you contrast the difference between the fast, fiery sun salutation versus this very slow and precise moon salutation. So I want to work a little bit more on some gardening poses here, which will be going toward a squat position and then going on to our kneeling position. So just warm up for this by stepping your feet apart again. Bring your toes pointing outward slightly, and then put your hands on your thighs as you bring your chest flat, your back flat, and your chest parallel to the ground. So like you're in a football huddle. Now shift your weight to the left as you straighten your right leg, and you're going to bring your right shoulder in toward your left knee. And then back to center. And then shift your weight to the right. So you're going to take your left shoulder now and put it down toward your right knee, straightening your left leg. And then back to center. And we're going to do that one more time, going to the left, right shoulder comes down. Back to center, and then again to the right with your left shoulder coming down. And then come back to center, bring your hands down to the mat. So take your right toes now and pivot them forward, and your left toes are still pivoted at an angle. And then you straighten your right leg, bend your left knee, walk your hands over to your left foot, but your arms are still on the inside of your left leg. So this is like half of a squat. So your left knee can rest on your shoulder if you like here for half of a squat. And then back to center, pivot both feet forward. Now you're going to pivot your right toes out at an angle, and then bend your right knee as you straighten your left leg and walk over to the right in the half squat on this side. So one reason why our backs hurt so much in gardening, at least mine does, is because we bend over a lot to, pull weeds or harvest our veggies or pick flowers, and that's hard on your back. That's why you see all the Asian countries when they're working in the rice paddies, they're always squatting. Walk your hands back to center, pivot your feet forward, and then bend your knees, slowly come up. So the art of squatting really is something that you'd have to do your whole life to really like it, but we're gonna try it today. So here's a couple of things. If you want to use a rolled up blanket to support your heels, it's a good idea, at least to start with, until you get down. The other thing you can do is use your block to sit on. So let me show you a couple of options. One option here, if you're not going to use your block, you're going to squat down with your heels on something. It just makes it a little bit easier. And the purpose of the squat is to keep your spine straight. So the other option, if that doesn't work for you, is to take a block and then very slowly come on down and sit on the block into a supported squat position here. Whichever way you choose, the idea is to have your spine long and your pelvis still tilting forward, so you have a little bit of neutral bend in your lower back. And if all of that is too easy for you, you can do it without the blanket, and adjust your stance accordingly. Everybody has a different stance with their squat, but you want your tailbone pointing down and the crown of your head going up. And I like to rest my knees on my arms here. And this is, if you can get here, or even with your heels supported, it's just a delicious stretch to your lower back. And then if you can stay here, just start picking your weeds and picking your vegetables. All right, bring your hands down, very slowly come out of it. So squatting is good for your knees if you have decent knees. Obviously, if that hurts your knees, don't do it. But you feel some effort. You will feel effort by doing your squats, but it's a good strengthener to help your knees. The other thing I want to do for a gardening pose is the kneeling. So there's a couple of options here too. First, come on down to the mat, onto your knees. And for many of you, this will be very easy. Just go ahead and sit on your heels and then bring your spine nice and straight. Now, I know that for some people, this is not so easy. So people who have stiff ankles, David, for one, take the blanket, roll it up, and then put that underneath of your ankles, okay? And then the other thing you can do is take your bolster or another blanket and put it between your bottom and your calves, and then kneel down this way. It'll also allow you to have a nice long spine. It feels really good. Stick your tailbone out, back, arch your back and feel your tailbone go down and out to feel this stretch in your spine. This is called Vajrasana. Have your shoulders down from your ears. Have a couple of breaths here. Again, pelvis is tilted forward, so you're stretching your lower back. And then one other option you could do is put the bolster between your legs and just sit on the bolster. This is a little bit of a different pose, however, because when you do that, your heel's on the outside of your bottom. So this is more, they call it a Virasana, hero's pose, whereas the pose that we were just doing, where you're sitting on your heels, there's a big difference between the two. So a couple more breaths in the kneeling pose of your version of your choice. And again, if you do this all the time, it's healthy for the knees. If it hurts your knees, then obviously don't do it. Okay, please now we'll come onto our backs as we wind down. Or further wind down, I should say. Bend your knees, place your feet flat on the mat. Grab a block or a bolster or blanket if you don't have a block. And we'll do a sacrum on the block for a few moments. Lift your hips, put your sacrum on the block. So if you don't have a block, you can use a pillow or a blanket or a bolster, or you can even put your feet up a wall. Let your legs float up. And if you prefer and want to go even deeper, I know some of you yogis out there like to do the plow pose. So if you want to do that, and just bring your feet over your head. It's a whole different pose. It's not as relaxing as legs up, but I know a couple of you like to do this. Halasana, plow pose. And then very slowly bring your legs down or roll out of your plow. Bring your feet back down to the mat with knees bent. Take your right ankle, place it on your left thigh. Take your right hand, push your right thigh away, loosen up that hip. Now, thread your right hand between your legs. Your left hand's going to go on the outside of the left thigh. Pick up your left foot, grab outside behind your left thigh, and bring your left thigh in towards your chest as you take your right elbow and push your right thigh away in this reclined pigeon pose. Keep your head and neck relaxed on the mat. Okay, release your thigh. Keep your legs where they are, crossed with your ankle on top of your left. And now you're going to take your right hand and move your right knee, like a typewriter return. You're going to move your right knee so that it's over your left. And you guys remember typewriters. Anybody younger than we are probably doesn't know what one is. Bring the knees toward the chest now with knee on top of knee, just like we're sitting in a chair. And then take your right hand, grab your left ankle, and your left hand grabs your right ankle. I hope that makes sense. I know this is a little confusing because in live classes, I see people crossing arms and crossing legs all kinds of different directions. But basically, the only things that are crossed are your legs, and each hand is grabbing the closest ankle. And then pull the ankles up towards you as you bring your knees up closer into your chest. And then release, unwind, feet back onto the mat. Left ankle comes onto the right thigh. Keep the foot flexed. Take your left hand, just push your thigh away to start with to loosen it. And then we'll thread our hands through. The left hand comes between, the right hand comes on the outside to grab your right thigh, bring it in towards your chest as you keep pushing your left thigh away. In the reclined pigeon, keep both feet flexed. And now release your thigh, but keep your legs where they are. And then now you're going to do the left-handed typewriter return, pushing your left knee on top of your right knee so that they're stacked one on top of each other, just like you're sitting in an upside down chair. And then you're going to take your hands and grab the opposite ankles and then pull the ankles toward you, bringing your knees towards your chest. This is the bottom half of a cow face pose, Gomukhasana, except this is done, the cow face pose is done sitting up. This is done reclined. Okay, release your ankles, unwind everything. Bring your feet back down. Now, bring your feet, soles of your feet together with your knees falling out to the side. And then keeping your soles of your feet together, lift your feet off the mat and see if you can grab your ankles with your hands threaded between your legs, or grab the outside edges of each foot. And then we're going to come into happy baby by separating our feet. Soles of the feet are up toward the ceiling, and you're pulling your knees down toward your armpits. Okay, move your feet back toward each other and press the soles of your feet back together, and then lower your feet back down with your soles together. Your feet will come down to the mat. Keep your soles of your feet together and just rest here in this reclined Baddha Konasana. Let gravity stretch your groin open a little bit here. Baddha Konasana means bound angle. Okay, please take your hands to the outside of your thighs and push your knees together. Arms in a T, palms facing up. We'll do one final little twist here by keep your knees together and see if you can bring your knees over to the right. And then back to center, keeping the knees together. See if you can bring them to the left. Your shoulders are still flat and open. And then back to center. And then bring both knees into your chest and hug your knees in. Roll around on the spine in both directions. And release and extend your legs long and come into your final relaxation, Savasana. And when you get comfortable, any way that you like, Just keep your throat open. Don't prop your head up too much. If you prop it up at all, don't prop it up too much, because you want to keep your airways open. And then close your eyes and focus on your breath. Slow down your breathing. Bring your awareness to your legs. Release the muscles in your feet and your calves, the muscles in your thighs and your buttocks. Relax your hips. Bring your awareness to your arms and your hands. Release all the muscles in your fingers, your wrists, your forearms, your biceps and triceps. Soften your belly, soften your chest. Feel your back muscles melt on the mat. Release your shoulders down from your ears. Relax your neck and your jaw. Unstick your tongue. Relax your lips. Relax your cheeks and your eyes and your forehead. And now relax your mind as you let thoughts float by like fluffy clouds. And focus on the clouds, or focus on your breath, or focus on a mantra such as, I am happy, I am healthy, I am grateful. And spend the next few moments in inner bliss and solitude. Please bring your awareness back to your breath and slowly deepen your breathing as you gently wake up your body, making small movements with hands and feet. And then please slowly bend your knees and roll onto your right side in a fetal position to seal the practice. And then please very slowly, keeping a quiet mind, push to seated. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. Namaste. And Jai Yogis. Thank you for coming. I do have a couple of announcements. You can turn your speakers on if you would like. Um,